What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. I'm your host, Nick. LZ's sitting this one out. He's traveling and he's pretty sad about it because we have Mike Phillips. He is Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Upper Deck. And, we've never had anybody from Upper Deck on our shows. I think this is pretty awesome. We're going to talk about a lot of things. Mike's got a new technology that Upper Deck has. They're sort of teasing, and it's pretty cool. I've had a look at it, and we're also going to talk about the hobby and just some of his takes on other things. So, Mike, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Nick. I can't believe no one from Upper Deck has been on. I'm honored.
Yeah, this is great. And you're an OG, right? So you've been at Upper Deck how many years now?
25 in March.
Wow, that's
And
wild.
uh, and the previous 5 years before that, I was a Fleer Skybox. I've been lucky. I'm lucky to be able to say that my whole working life has been in this industry.
Not quite as long as the Ken Griffey card that I had as a kid, but almost, right?
That's pretty close. I was doing shows right about then, but yeah, pretty close.
Pretty awesome. All right, so before we get into this, the audience obviously knows I'm a huge 86 Fleer guy. Okay, I'm like obsessed with it. And Jordan is a marquee part of that set. Can you correct me if I'm wrong? Does Upper Deck own the Fleer brand as of right now?
Yes,
Right.
The Fleer umbrella
Trademark
brand,
or
as well as the sub brands, many of the
very
sub brands.
interesting.
Yeah,
And Upper Deck is obviously the exclusive autograph right, or they have exclusive autograph rights to Michael Jordan, right?
that is correct. Yes,
Now I think he's signed stuff for Goodwin's Champions before,
he
right?
has. Yeah,
Yep.
he
And then
has.
obviously you have the memorabilia and that awesome seal and everything. So here's my question, Mike. Why why can't we do something fun here? All right. So Jordan's not a very public guy, although he's doing some show. I saw he's coming on some kind of show, so maybe he's gonna open up.
He's doing NBC. The NBA is covering is with NBC. NBC is
Yeah.
handling NBA next year, and he's going to be a guest commentator for part of the season.
I
Yeah, it's
think some
pretty
people are
cool.
gonna start to get to him with cute kids and stuff like that. Just my hunch. But how cool would it be if you guys were like, all right, guys, this is like the event of the century. Um, It could be a Dutch auction or whatever. It's like 1,000 spots. Jordan will sign anything you want. Money goes to charity. That would be so crazy. Um, that would be so cool. Or even like a less crazy version of that. Maybe you reproduce 86 Fleer and have him like sign like 10 of them and just stick them in random upper deck packs or Goodwin's Champ packs. I don't know. What do you think of these ideas?
Oh, I'd love to do all of them. We've heard them all.
I'm sure.
It would be pretty wild. It would necessitate some serious crowd control. But yeah, MJ is as most people know is pretty private. He's arguably the most famous person on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be challenging. But we talk internally all the time about how getting creative with new ways to present MJ signature and to present MJ collectibles in general. So we're always thinking of new things to do. And actually, we have some really cool things that we'll be rolling out over the coming years. But in the short term, I can.
Ah, man. That's
I
okay.
can't tell you that that's going to happen, but we have done we did autograph versions of the 86 87 Fleer rookie card in a product we did geez, it was an anniversary. I think it was the 20th anniversary of that card when we
That
had the
was in
Fleer one.
2006. I'm very well
Yeah.
aware of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you
Those
are.
Now, the audience doesn't know what Mike is talking about there is a really cool signing they did with Jordan. So he signed and numbered 23 original 1986 Fleer cards. You guys inserted redemption cards into the packs. And then if you got that card, then you got one of these buyback cards. They're worth $500,000 all day long. There's still five unaccounted for, and that drives me crazy, but
Ooh.
that's okay.
They're out there in the wild
So it's
still.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a fun thing to do. And we still do things like that. You may have heard recently we announced that we're doing something similar in hockey with Alexander Ovechkin. We bought back eight of his Young Guns cards, and we had Alex sign and hand number those cards. They'll be coming out in an extended series next week.
That's
So there's
awesome.
only eight of them. So we like to be able to do fun things like that when
Yeah,
we
the
can.
Willy Wonka part of it's always fun. All right, let's get to this technology because I think that's what you're most excited to talk about. So, can you tell me what new technology is Upper Deck unveiling, what product can people find it in, and what is the problem you're trying to solve?
Yeah, so it's super exciting. And, anytime you're with a company and you're working on something for a long time, especially something that's desperately needed, and the industry is asking for, whether discreetly or overtly, and we've had both. It's really exciting to finally get to the finish line. So we have, as you know. And you've mentioned even a couple times here, Upper Deck is sort of synonymous with quality, innovation, authenticity. We started it with our holograms on the back of cards at the very beginning of our company. We moved that over to our authenticated autograph memorabilia with our five-step authentication process. We're always looking for ways to make the consumer feel comfortable that what they're purchasing, what they're collecting is authentic.
Mm.
And as of late, is particularly on high-end products. And for us, our highest end product is a product called the Cup
Yep.
in hockey, and we've been doing that now for coming up on 20 years. And the cornerstone of that product are what are known as RPAs, the rookie patch autographs.
Yep.
And some of the biggest hockey cards ever created, the most valuable hockey cards ever created, are rookie patch autographs.
Yeah, that
And
Ovechkin one is nuts. It's like, it's like $1 million card. You know?
it's crazy what these things command, and and the people love them. They look for them, and even if they can't afford them, they're excited when they get to see them. But the
Right.
problem that has arisen over the last several years is the concept of patch swapping. And for those of your listeners that don't know what that is, although I'm sure most of them probably do, it's this phenomenon where unscrupulous people out there will take the patch out of a card that's maybe a single color swatch and
Uh,
replace it with a
Multicolor.
fake swatch from something that maybe they bought in a store, multicolor, which obviously will make the card command a premium. And there's often questions about the authenticity of those. Well, we've been asked all the time about what can you do to stop that? Isn't there something that you guys as a manufacturer can do to stop this? And starting in 2023-24 NHL The Cup, which comes out in 2 weeks, we'll feature a new innovation where every rookie patch autograph, which as your viewers who collect the cup know, you get one of these in every tin when you buy the cup. That card in 23-24, the cup will come slabbed in the pack.
Oh,
It will
wow.
it will come slabbed, so it'll be encapsulated within in the actual tin. So you'll get your cards that you would get normally through the cup, and on the bottom of the tin will be, and there's an extra layer to kind of give almost a second opening experience that you have to lift up, and that will reveal who your RPA is. And that RPA will be slabbed, and that slab will have a tag at the top of it, which will describe the card number, the subject, and obviously the product, along with a QR code. And that QR code will take you to a website called The Authority. And on The Authority, it will show you multiple images of your card and the patch that was originally included with that card. So, what this basically does is it puts the authentication power in the hand of the consumer right away. Because far too many times when you're buying a card like a rookie patch autograph, you're at a show or you're looking at one that you're considering that's in an auction, you have no way of authenticating or knowing that that patch is authenticated until you get that card. You've already made the purchase, you have it in your hand, and then maybe you do some due diligence. You do research online, you send it off to the manufacturer. There's no need to do that now because the card is slabbed in its uncirculated original condition, and you can always refer to it. And
Interesting.
yeah. So we're
Now,
super excited.
so it comes in a slab. What is this? Does this slab look like just kind of like a blank plastic slab, or is it look like something that like PSA would create, or is it sonically sealed, or is it like, magnetically put together?
It's funny you should ask. I actually have an
All right, for those
example
on
of one right
YouTube,
here.
you got a good look at it. I will do my best for those on audio. It's essentially got a blue label up top with the QR code, so it kind of looks like the old blue flip labels from PSA, to be honest. And then yeah, you've got the auto patch right there. That's
And
cool.
now we have the U for uncirculated. There's a QR code, and the that QR code corresponds with this number right here, the serial
I
number.
wonder if this is
Everyone,
going to affect like it's funny. Are people going to want to send these to PSA or do they want to leave them like this because of the authenticity part of it? That's interesting because then
it
PSA is going to
is.
have to cross these over.
Yeah, so it obviously creates a lot of very relevant questions. That's one that we certainly expect. And at the end of the day, it's up to the collector. They have a card that is in its original factory sort of uncirculated condition. Sort of similar, if you think about it, to when you send off a redemption card.
Yeah.
You get the card back from the manufacturer, and it's got the sticker, the manufacturer's sticker. And often people leave those in that one touch because they command a premium that way. Some
But
people may get the
those are
graded.
tamperable though, because you could take
They
the sticker
are.
off. That I can't think of another example of somebody sending an actual sonically sealed slab in a box or product. I don't, has that ever been done? I,
I
I don't
don't
think it
believe it
has.
has.
I mean,
No.
yeah, we get stuff sealed all the time. It's a one touch or it's a semi one touch with a panini sticker over it, or yeah, Fanatics will do that too, or like Flawless will do that. But this is
Mhm.
like an actual slab. I'm gonna, man, I don't think people are gonna be crossing those, and I think they might keep them in that state. It'll be interesting to see.
I hope so. We hope people do. But if they don't, obviously, they're free to crack the slab
Right.
and submit it. If they do that, remember the spirit of what we're trying to do here. So if they choose to do that, and many will, send it off to a grading company. I would strongly suggest they keep that serial number and they keep the slab so that so that
Oh,
they have that to go back on. And we're actually having ongoing conversations with the grading companies about how they can incorporate these serial numbers that would link back to the authority, so that if somebody's considering buying this card once it's graded now by a third party grader, that it will link back. There will be some connection to the card. So if someone is looking to purchase it and it's in another company's slab, they can make sure that the patch is authentic.
yeah, I know when I cross things to PSA, they nonchalantly chuck all the old labels in a box. So the hope is you can educate PSA, or you say grading companies, obviously Beckett and others too, to be like, hey guys, like don't just chuck this slab. We need it, for the QR code and the number associated with it. So as long as they're
Yeah.
educated, and I'm sure there'll be some errors, but for the most part, it should be okay. That'll be
Yeah,
interesting.
and we've had conversations with them about, on on their site, incorporating the actual serial number with the card so that the collector can have that number associated with when they go to PSA. So
Very cool.
or BGS or someone else. So we are having ongoing conversations, and we feel like we'll get to some point. But most importantly, collector needs to hold on to that, whether they if they
Yeah,
keep
I
that.
agree. It's like a JSA letter or something else. Like you need to hold on to it. I will say this. This is for the audience on YouTube. Let me know in the comments, or let us know in the comments, if you got a high-end RPA, from a top player or whatever. Would you cross it or would you keep it in this slab? That's what I'd like to know. Very
It
cool.
is it is going to be an interesting question, what people will do. But this is the beauty of this is it's an uncirculated card.
Right.
And one thing that the authority who is handling the serial numbering, the imaging, and the slabbing of these cards is already incorporated into the Upper Deck ecosystem via Collect Forever. Your users may not know about Collect Forever, but that's part of the Upper Deck ecosystem, along with Upper Deck EPAC, which many of them probably have heard about,
Right.
where collectors can go to purchase uncirculated and slabbed other collectibles like comic books, action figures, Funko Pops that we acquire directly from the manufacturer, the publisher, and we slab them as soon as we get them in a very similar way where each one has its own serial number. So the authority is already doing that and has been doing that for us. and now we're doing it. We're bringing it over to trading cards.
Very cool. Looking forward to it. Um, so I promised the audience we talk a little bit about the hobby. Um,
Okay.
you are an OG. You've been around for a long time. So how do you feel
Yes.
about things now? Not necessarily like the manufacturers and grading stuff like that, but just the breaking and one of ones and repacks and just the 2025 sports card hobby. What do you think about everything?
Oh, it's a loaded question. I have to say this. You referenced how long I've been doing this, and I've seen a lot of things, the ups and downs, and I always tell the story about pre-COVID where, you meet someone for the first time and, oh, what do you do for a living? I work in, trading cards. And I said, oh, is that still a thing?
Hmm.
And I didn't realize that people still did that, and it used to drive me crazy that made me as particularly as the head of marketing and the head of sales. We're not doing our job if you didn't know that we're still very much a vibrant, community and an industry. Uh, but fast forward to now, and you never hear that anymore.
No.
And as horrible as the COVID period was, the introductory it gave to so many people to this industry, whether they were lapsed collectors or new collectors, um, has been beyond anybody's wildest dreams. And there are so many people now, both new, young and old, new collectors, lapsed collectors, longtime collectors that are so reinvigorated by what's happening. And our industry, technology has infiltrated our industry to a point where collecting, buying, and selling is so easy. Breaking gives you access to products that maybe you couldn't afford before. So are there things in the industry that I'm not thrilled about? The whole sort of you know, flipping and some of the other things that are not true collector traits and values, and that stuff I worry about people coming and going from that standpoint.
Yeah, it's
But at the end
unsustainable.
of the day, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. I'm just thrilled that so many more people are exposed to collecting and enjoying it. Go to card shows now, which were almost extinct, and they're packed. It's
Yeah.
just the energy is so good and
Yeah,
exciting.
Fanatics Fest. It's like honestly, it's like I feel like cards has gone from like black and white television to like, OLED LCD or like an old library to like Disneyland.
Quickly, quickly too, like so quickly.
Yeah, it's
And
wild.
the other thing I love, Nick, and being the collector that I know you are, is it's so cool and it makes me feel old, but it's still really cool. Like the fact that the people who are relatively new to the industry are now going back to things and to discover them because they never knew they existed. You know, things like 86, 87 Fleer, like you're talking about, or even, my God, when people start referring to the 90s as vintage, that's when but like these are all things that are new to people, and that's where a lot of the things that they love to collect today really originated. So there's a lot of really, really exciting things going on in the industry, and I'm sure plenty more to come.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons. I don't love the gambling aspect of breaking so
Right.
much, but then I'm kind of an old man yelling at the clouds. And then you could argue that breaking has brought an incredible amount of liquidity into the space, which has
Yes.
created this Disneyland event experience that kids like my son will appreciate and enjoy at places like Fanatics Fest or what the Nationals become. So nothing's black and white. There's always a little bit of gray with how things evolve, but it'll be fun to see how it continues.
Yeah, breaking, is a polarizing subject for sure.
Yeah.
But with us and particularly in Canada, where we do a lot of our business because we do so much in hockey. Canada's a big country, a lot of space between hobby shops and cities and towns, and breaking has really created an opportunity for people to feel like they're part of the community if they can't get into a hobby shop. So, there are, and then of course you mentioned singles. I mean, it's really energized the singles market.
Oh
And
yeah.
and it
So
and it
has
also,
repacking.
yeah, 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 yeah. Well, this industry always finds ways to reinvent itself, and the repacking is
Exactly.
is yet another way. And it's whatever it takes. But there's different collectors and different tastes and different brands for everybody. So,
Exactly.
if that's what they like.
Very cool. All right, we usually do like a question of the day, me and Elsie. He's not here, so we're gonna me and you will do it. So this one will actually
Okay.
be really easy. You can decide to go
Yep.
first, or I can go first. But um, what is your favorite Upper Deck card of all time?
I'll let you go first so I can
All
think.
right, it's easy for me. It's the '89 Griffey. Not the most like earth-shattering value. You know, there were a few printed, but um, I don't know. I just remember as a kid that was like I really liked Griffey a lot, and I didn't see him much because he was in Seattle and I was a Boston guy. They play their one series, and I'd see him and be like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And I collected like all his things, and that I don't know, I really liked that card, so that was mine.
It would be hard to argue with that. That would be boring if I said it's the same card, but I do remember uh I remember I have a younger brother who's much younger than me, but we both grew up collecting, and I remember when we first opened our first packs of 89 Upper Deck and the feeling that we got. And I think he got a Griffey. Um but
Really, that's
I
cool.
think so. Yeah, and we were like, these cards are insane, like how different they are than everything else we're used to collecting. And 89 Upper Deck will always be associated with that. But I do think about in my more recent, although still getting pretty old, the something like the LeBron exquisite rookie patch auto, or the Sidney Crosby and the Ovechkin
Yeah.
rookie patch auto. I mean, those those were really sort of the catalyst for what's become that super high end part of our industry.
Yep.
And from a historical standpoint, those cards are so important. I
Yeah.
mean, the 89 Upper Deck Griffey's arguably, one of the most important cards of all time for sure. But those cards, and what they ushered in, and what has now become such an important part of our industry, whether you can afford it or not. It
Right.
so important, and the pride in knowing that we introduced that is pretty special.
Great.
And no, I don't own either of them, but I certainly
I was
appreciate them.
checking out eBay and I was just poking around like, there's an Ovechkin BGS 95 RPAs listed for, million, and I haven't like looked at auction sales, but obviously Tim and Crosby and everybody else, well, not everybody else, but it'll be fun to see every year. This is
Yeah,
cool. Well, I'm excited to see this new technology. When is the release date for the product that's going to have this technology?
yeah, it's soon. It's 2 weeks from tomorrow is June 4th.
June 4th. So we're
So
recording
June
this on May 20th. So yeah, it'll be June 4th. Excellent.
Yeah, so the cup is interesting because we actually hand pack that product. It's not machine packed. So everything's very meticulous, white glove, and it takes a long time. So it takes a really long time. So to pack it all out. So
Oh,
it's very meticulous in how it's done, and we're in the home stretch as we speak. So June 4th is solid as a release date.
excellent. Now, if anybody has any questions or they want to find more information about this product, should they just go to the Upper Deck website? Or I don't know if you want people
Absolutely.
following you or,
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, the Upper Deck website for sure is a great resource. I believe the checklist will be up there. Where you said we're recording this on the 20th. I believe the
Mhm.
checklist will get released in the next day or two.
Cool.
Yep, it's always an exciting day of the year for Upper Deck when the cup releases. So we're
Love
looking
it.
forward to bringing it to collectors.
Well, Mike, thank you very much. Thanks for letting me pick on you about MJ a little bit, and
Anytime, anytime. My pleasure.
appreciate it. Thanks again.
Absolutely.
All right, I brought LZ back. LZ, I didn't screw up the intro too bad, did I? You always do the
No,
intro.
you did fine, man. You did
Oh,
you did great. I know that you stress over the intros, but you nailed it. I guess I'm a little worried that you might steal those duties from me, but you did
yeah.
you
So
did
for
great,
the
man.
audience, once we reached like the 15th time where I forgot to either say my name or say the guest name or say it wrong or say whatever, we decided the baton went to LZ and he decided to take the intros moving forward, he's doing a great job. So
Yeah, I love doing them. I'm sure you can tell, right? My inflection of my voice goes way up, right? I get
perfect.
excited doing the intros. So,
So the
um,
you couldn't make this interview. You were traveling.
no,
So I thought it'd be
yes.
kind of cool to get you back on. You've obviously
Hmm.
watched it, and just we could kind of talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. I thought it was great. I actually, well, a couple things. First, I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh God.
I have a bone to pick with you, my friend. So you led with the Michael Jordan questions, right?
Yep.
You led with that instead of talking about the upper deck innovation that they built. Um, why didn't you ask him about the vault? I know that we've asked people in the past about this and we've gotten like different answers. Like, dude, this was the horse's mouth. Why didn't you go and ask about the vault?
I know. I felt like I was overstepping,
Oh,
and I didn't want to ruffle any feathers. I
no.
had asked the questions ahead of time, like when I was on, so
Yeah.
I didn't want to have him. I didn't want to go there. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So
But
for the
maybe
audience that isn't aware of the vault, apparently Upper Deck has this vault where they have old cards, especially signed cards. And
right,
like since they've lost the license to the A, there's this rumor that this vault has a lot of like old cards that are signed by on Fleer cards or Upper Deck cards because they lost the
right.
licensing. So there's a rumor that these Michael Jordan rookie cards that are signed by him are in this vault.
We
So
talked about those,
I
but again,
really wish you
that's just
asked.
a rumor. We don't know.
I
They
know.
could have been redeemed, like that one in the Philippines I found 4 months ago.
Hmm.
They could have been redeemed, and people are just holding them.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. They're not.
Hmm.
If they got the redemption card and they redeemed it, Upper Deck doesn't have to tell. I mean, they could if they wanted to. Fanatics does sometimes. They say
Yeah.
if something's redeemed or not, but Upper Deck doesn't have to do anything.
I know they don't have to,
But
but
I hear you, man. I
should
know.
have asked.
I know. You
If
know
I was
what?
there,
Let's
that's why it's one of these. This is why we have a good partnership, right? It's good when we both interview. But
maybe we'll see.
I'm just giving you
We'll see him
crap,
at the
dude. It's
national,
fine.
and we can ask him
Yeah,
off air
yeah.
about
Is he
that.
coming to the party? Did you ask him?
Yeah, it sounds like he is. So
Okay,
it should
cool.
be.
All right, yeah, it'll be good to meet
I
Mike.
think he's
Um,
bringing the president of Upper Deck as well. So it should be
awesome.
fun.
Awesome. Yeah, it was great to hear even just his history, right? That
Yeah,
he's
he's
been
an
in the
OG.
collectible space for a long time. Um, so let's get to the actual innovation itself.
Hmm.
Uh I like it. It made me I didn't even realize, and I should have, that this actually is a problem with people pulling out the jerseys out of cards and replacing it with like a much better jersey,
I
especially
know.
like the tri-color jerseys, right? Like you get those crappy ones that are just like navy blue, and you're like, oh, this thing sucks.
Yeah,
And you replace it with our navy red and white one, and all of a
yeah.
sudden it's
Or the
triple
letter.
colors and it's worth more. And
I know.
it's
I don't
yeah,
like. I don't mess with patches too much.
no,
So like I know cousin Eddie, he likes patches. So he's always like, that's a napkin patch. That's a swatch. That's a
yeah,
I mean, but I do know about Logo Man, obviously. That's like
hmm,
a pretty compelling patch and makes a big difference on a card. And we joked about this before. Can you just go to Fanatics and cut some Logo Man out of stuff and make your own card,
I guess people
Um,
are doing it, man.
so yeah, I guess if you can significantly increase the value of something, somebody will always try to you know,
Yep.
create fraud around that opportunity,
And they
right?
could do it not just for jerseys. It could be any relics, right? Like we see tips of baseball bats in there. We see like little pieces of leather from a baseball glove. Like it could be anything
Yeah.
with this innovation that they built. So
So I guess
very
it's a
cool.
real problem, which I
Did you
kind of
guys?
found more about.
I don't think you asked this because unless I missed it, unless I tuned out, which I don't think I did. Did you ask about any sort of patents,
I did
even
not.
off air?
I
Yeah.
did
All
not.
right. Okay.
That's a good
Um.
question that I didn't ask
Yeah.
because you weren't there, LZ. That's why.
No, that's all right. That's all right. We'll ask them during the party. So I thought that was just it opened my mind. I didn't realize that
They
people were
may.
doing that.
I mean,
So I
they may
actually
have it on
kind of
that
want to try
slab
it.
yeah.
I want to try it with like a crappy card that I have a patch on and see if I can like gently pull out the patch and just slide a new patch in.
Yeah, I mean, you could get something like off sport too. Like if the
Yeah,
Miami Dolphins colors are the same as like
whatever.
this team in soccer's colors, you grab some $2 card and you're just
Yeah,
like, oh, look at that, and nobody has any idea because they never
yeah.
saw the original pressing.
Mm.
There wasn't like photo matching of like I actually have a video on Instagram of Panini doing this. They spread it out and they chomp it with like this press, and that
Sure.
press has like 1,000 different blades and
Yeah.
squares. There's no like video of before and after of that and matching the swatches. So this is kind of the first wave of that, right? It's
Yeah,
interesting.
exactly. What would you do? Question for you. So you get one of these cards, um, and they have sealed it themselves. Are you keeping it in the original case or are you sending it to PSA
That's
or one of the
such.
other grading
I know.
companies?
I was really. You could tell I was really wrestling
You
with
are.
that. I'm like, what are
Yeah.
people going to do? I think there's a threshold, right?
Mm,
So I think if I get the player's card,
yeah.
then that's probably going to go to PSA. I think that will enhance the value.
Hmm.
Um, I think a lesser player card, like under $500 or something like that, probably just keep it.
Just
And
keep it.
it's also different too. Is it for your PC? Maybe you love this player, and
Yeah.
value doesn't matter. Then
Hmm.
then you just keep it, right? You don't monkey around with
Hmm.
crossing and possibly damaging it and stuff. God, I feel my prediction is half get cracked.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
could totally be wrong.
No, I
Um,
think it's probably right. I think you do your own inspection too, right? If it looks like a 10 or if it looks like a close to a 10 or a 9, maybe you crack it. If it, if it's not cut exactly the right way and you think it's an 8 or something, then you probably leave it as well. But yeah, I think the 50-50 is probably about right for that.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. What
Mm.
would you do, Elsie? Same
I
threshold or
I think there would definitely be a value. Like it's got to be worth it, right?
right?
If it's, if it ends up being $100 card, no, I'm not going to crack it and send it to PSA and spend $75 to get it graded.
No.
Like I'm just not doing that. Um, but I think I would lean towards cracking it. Like if my ultimate goal is to get the most value out of the card, it's it's PSA, everybody. It just is. It
It
just
is.
is, right?
It is.
It would have been interesting if Upper Deck actually partnered with a slabbing company. That could have been interesting. And
Maybe they
maybe
will
they
for
will.
future releases.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe they will, right? I
Mean,
mean,
it's pretty
so
rad that they did their own sealing.
yeah.
Like they're the first ones. So like Panini, I mean, if you in the audience don't know this, like Flawless and Panini, they'll give you like sandwiches, like magnetic sandwiches with stickers and stuff. Like I can't think of another instance where a manufacturer has fully slabbed and sonically sealed cards in a release
Mhm.
product. I don't think it's been done.
No, I don't think so either. But the audience is probably going to find 12
Yeah,
different
yeah. Well, back
12
in
different
back in
scenarios.
2022, there was a
Exactly. Yeah.
Goodwin's champion. I don't know. It's whatever.
There will be. There will be. We definitely missed something, I'm sure. All right. Let's so whenever I think of a new invention or a new innovation, I always think to myself, all right, what are going to be the workarounds? How are people going to get around this?
Are
Like,
you asking me how to work around things? You always
yeah.
ask me the bad guy stuff. What's up with that, man?
Hmm.
Oh, all right.
So
I'll play.
how would you get around this, right? So there's a QR code. It's got a picture with many different angles of this card. The logo man. Let's say it is a logo or a jersey patch, a rookie patch, right? So you got that in the card. How would I get around this if I still wanted to counterfeit these cards? What would I do?
All right. First thing I would do is find somebody overseas,
Mm,
preferably China, that's really good at spoofing slabs.
mm,
They exist. There are definitely companies that can sonically seal like that. PSA deals with them all the time. I bought a Jordan and got screwed in one of them. There was like one little tell, you could see like the little hole or something.
mm,
So you find a somebody that's willing to slab, and now you got to produce a counterfeit card. And this is getting into illegal territory. Don't do this at home, everybody.
ah,
You just you create a counterfeit card, counterfeit patch into a counterfeit slab. The only hiccup here is like they have to. How do you get past the QR code link? It's going to have to be something that's already public. So like somebody has tried to sell it on eBay. And so there's
mhm,
images of that QR code
mhm.
because then now you can intercept that link and create your own page. Although it's not going to be like upperdeck.com. It's going to be like, upper with like 1p deck.com or something like you deal with this in fishing
Well,
all the time.
no, it wouldn't have to be. They just need a
Right. You just
picture of the QR code.
exactly.
And then you use that same QR code.
So if if this thing never leaves your house, it really can't be done.
Mm-mm.
But if it ever gets publicly posted with the QR code, that's actually a good message for the audience.
Yeah.
If you buy this and want to show it off, fudge out the QR code because that will stop
Yeah,
somebody,
blur it out.
the
Yeah,
person I'm
blur it
trying to
out.
pretend to be.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think that's really the only way.
All right,
And
so
that's tough.
I'm gonna put my cybersecurity hat on.
Okay.
Okay. There is another way. So this is if Upper Deck is listening, I know you have a website where these QR codes are stored. You have this database. You click on
Oh,
the QR code, it goes to the website. You can see all sorts of pictures. Make sure that website is secured. Make
yeah.
sure that me, who doesn't own one of these cards, can't go to that website and just browse these pictures and or QR codes. So that would be
Well,
like,
what about social engineering? Like, hey, this is Tim. I can't find my patch card. My kid's gonna kill me. Come
yeah,
on, I need this today. And you
sure.
like get through to the rep, and the
Yeah.
rep is yeah,
Yeah. But we've gone
yeah,
like 4 layers
yeah.
deep,
We're
right?
good,
So
man. I think
I
it's a
think
pretty
it's
good tech.
I think it's good tech too. I actually really like the idea. I like the idea
Yeah,
of the QR code, the transparency. I like the idea that they're going to show many different angles of the card. I think that's great. I think it's great. It would be curious to see what they do with it.
yeah. I like it. So it'll
So,
be released in June, I think. So
yeah.
yeah, we'll check it
Hmm.
out. I'm
Yeah,
not a big
very
hockey
soon.
card guy, but
Hmm.
I'll poke around.
Yeah.
Excellent,
Yep.
man. Cool.
Okay.
I
All right, question.
survived an interview without you, buddy.
You did. You did great, man. You did great. You always do good. You've done a couple of these without me.
Yeah, I
You're all right.
suppose.
You're doing all right. You're doing good. All right. Question of the day, Nick. I'm asking it. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, did you see the tall ship hit the Brooklyn Bridge like last week?
No, I don't
You
watch the news.
all right, you didn't. Everybody listening has seen that. The only person that has not seen it is Nick, who
I swear to God,
who
I
we're
have not seen
talking
it.
to right now. So what happened? There was a Mexican naval ship, but it was like an old school, like tall ship one with three different masts, and it was going and it was getting close to the Brooklyn Bridge, and it ended up hitting the Brooklyn Bridge.
How did I miss this? Oh wait,
Now,
I mean,
this is really sad because some of the
oh
sailors on
okay.
the ship actually passed away. There were a couple sailors that were up on top of the mast and they hit the
So
bridge,
the bridge
being
just
all
clipped
the
it.
way up, all the
Wow.
way up. Now, the bridge is fine. It just like cracked all three of the masts. And then eventually they were able to slow the ship down. Apparently,
Wow.
there was some like malfunction with the ship and the captain couldn't stop it. And it's like, it was wild to see because everyone's got cameras. Like there are many different angles of this thing hitting
Right.
hitting hitting the bridge. So the question of the day is, I'm thinking about the Brooklyn Bridge and like how cool that is and how like iconic this bridge is. What is the coolest or most inspiring man-made structure that you can think of?
Sheesh. All right.
I can go first if you want because
Go first.
I didn't prep you for this at
I've
all.
got a
So this one
few, but I
you
don't
got
want
to
it to
think
be
about.
obvious. So let me hear
Yeah.
yours.
All right. So this one's gonna be obvious, but I am in just like so like just such awe of it. The Golden Gate Bridge is just so amazing. That bridge, like the sheer size of it. Building it in that ocean, like that is some serious rough waters. Like there are sharks everywhere. Like it's beautiful. It's just so iconic. That was kind of the first one that came to mind. It came to mind because we were talking about the Brooklyn Bridge. I thought of this one. I have some others, but I'm not going to steal any of them. Mine is the Golden Gate Bridge.
All right. I just did a bit of quick research too while you were talking.
Okay. Oh, all
Um,
right.
all right. So
You wanted me to stall for you. Okay.
this is the one thing that it would have been really cool to experience as like a peasant or a regular person
Mm,
2000 years ago.
mm,
Colosseum in Rome. All right. This thing was like ridiculous engineering marvel. How many
yeah.
people do you think it held, LZ?
Oh, 10,000? I don't
That's what you
know.
think? That's your guess? All right.
Yeah, I mean, I've been there before. Like, I don't know. It's yeah, 10,000. I don't know
50
how
to
many.
80.
Holy crap,
Okay. So
80,000 people.
at that point in time, the only structures in the world that even came close were like Great Wall of China,
Hmm.
you know, there's a few other, you know,
Yeah.
pyramids,
Well, the pyramids. Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
pyramids.
Probably
I'm
some
trying to,
things in France, like
the Hanging
Notre
Gardens,
Dame.
maybe, like,
Maybe
you know,
Notre
like
Dame Cathedral. Maybe that. Maybe I don't think. I
that
don't know.
doesn't,
That
I don't
probably
know if that
wasn't
was
even.
there then. No, it
Probably
wasn't there.
wasn't.
So
Yeah.
like at that time, I mean, you're talking the only technology they have is like iron. It's yeah, it's like Bronze Age, so they know how to like smelt and like, you know,
Hmm.
make you know, different materials, but
Hmm.
they created like Foxborough Stadium today holds 60,000.
Right. So something
Like
bigger.
now obviously there's soccer stadiums that hold like 120, like,
Mm.
you know, Wembley and all that. But
Mm.
like this thing in the middle of
A city in the
like
middle of a
a
city.
desert city, and then like
Yeah.
this, yeah, and then you got
Yeah.
this city where
Yeah.
people are, you know, literally they're just like, this is like 2000 years ago.
Right.
You've got like a modern stadium, like somebody
Yeah.
went back in time with plans and we're like, this is how you build
That is
Foxborough
impressive.
Stadium.
It
So
is
I think
impressive. The
that's
different
pretty nuts.
levels. There's like elevators in that thing too. There's like all this wild
They
engineering.
have aqueducts in there
Yeah,
where you could fill it, and they had like ship battles and stuff like
they
that in the
did.
thing. Like
Yeah,
you can't do that at the
Gladiator
garden.
Gladiator 2 for those that have seen it. I did watch it. It's on Amazon Prime for free right now. They did that. They did that scene. They filled it with water and they did like a ship battle in it.
That's real. Now, the sharks
Yeah.
that they used are not real. That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. But
No, that's
they definitely did naval battles in that thing. So, like,
mm.
I just,
How?
for
Like
those
it's
that don't believe
incredible.
in aliens and time travel and stuff, there's got to be something going on with that, the Colosseum and the pyramids, dude. It's
Hmm.
just like so far outside of the technology of that age. It's
It's
wild.
wild. Yeah, I was so I was fortunate enough. I have been to Rome and I was just so impressed, obviously, by the Colosseum, but the aqueducts that you mentioned, Nick, like they figured out a way to bring running water to this city from the mountains with these aqueducts. Like it's just and the running water still works. There are fountains in the city that are just constantly running from the aqueducts. That was like 2,000 years ago.
Bravo, Rome. Good job.
It's insane. It's insane. Yeah. All right,
I mean,
cool.
they
All
had
right.
all the money in the world, I suppose,
They did. And all the power in the
all
world.
the power. So
Oh
it's just
yeah.
like, what do you want to
Hmm.
do? Let's build a
Hmm.
Foxborough Stadium.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Very cool. All right, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.